ISIS has issued a direct live threat to Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg in a new video. This is the latest that we are getting from the terror outfit. ISIS has threatened to kill Zuckerberg and Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey for removing accounts promoting terrorism from their sites. In the 25-minute amateur video titled Flames of the Supporters, the photos of Zuckerberg and Dorsey are seen being blasted with gunshots. ISIS has and related terror groups have targeted Dorsey at least twice in the past year. In its latest threat in March 2015, the group claimed Dorsey and his company had started a war against the Islamic State and that the necks of Twitter employees have become an official target of the ISIS soldiers and supporters. Twitter seems to have only stepped up its effort to wipe ISIS off its platform since then. A few weeks ago, the company announced it had suspended more than 125,000 accounts for threatening or supporting terrorist acts over the past several months. Let me quickly get across to editor Shiv Arur for more on this. Shiv, this threat, of course, would be serious. The way ISIS supporters and lone wolf attacks have resulted in deaths of many journalists, like the case in Charlie Hebdo and others, this would be taken very seriously.
Definitely will be taken very seriously. Nothing that the ISIS says, is ever ignored, given the number of attacks that they've, proven to be actually responsible for or claimed responsibility for. In this particular case, it is very well known that the Islamic State has managed to, harness the use of social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter, YouTube as well, to propagate, to recruit, to spread information, to communicate, to organize, and even for logistical purposes. Now, as a result of this and a result of many investigations in Europe and the United States, there has been a beginning of a big crusade, Ankit, against the ISIS through Facebook and Twitter, where you've got people like Mark Zuckerberg joining hands with the US government saying we are going to make sure that our platforms like Facebook and Twitter will not be used by terrorists, for their own ends. Now, obviously, this means trouble for the ISIS. What they've done is hit back right now, saying that you delete one of our accounts on Facebook, we will add 10 more accounts. You try and destroy what we do on social media, you will never be able to do so. The ISIS, remember, has recruited hackers. They've got a very, very, comprehensive social media team and propaganda team which uses Facebook and Twitter very extensively for these purposes. And all of it now, comes under this assassination threat where they've named Mark Zuckerberg and the CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey. And I think you're absolutely right. A threat of this kind issued in the guise of a video is something that will be taken very, very seriously. It's also a recognition that the ISIS looks at what the US government is doing and what Mark Zuckerberg has, done by joining hands with the US government as a possible threat to its own functioning as the Islamic State.
Shiv, you're very active on the social media and you also report on how social media has been used by ISIS, their recruiters, their propagators, to get people attracted towards their organization, towards the caliphate. That's what they call. People from India, they started with these radical chats on Facebook, on Twitter, and landed up in Syria. How important is the use of the social media of Facebook, Twitter for ISIS, and how important is trying to free ISIS propaganda from these sites?
Very, very good question, Ankit. It's hugely important to answer your question very briefly. As you rightly pointed out, the recruitment modus operandi for the ISIS, not just in India but in other countries, is, these closed private Facebook chat rooms, small groups where people are brought in, communications happen, and where, the process of recruitment actually takes place. So Facebook, Twitter, communication tools like WhatsApp have been extremely important for, the Islamic State, because that is the very, the very foundation on which they're able to actually bring in more members. Remember when you and I were reporting on the ISIS, developments here in India, the police reports almost unanimously have talked about how Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp have been used as platforms specifically by people like Afshar Jabin, other ISIS operatives arrested in India, who are using Facebook to recruit people from far and wide, from places like Hyderabad,
Yes.
from places like Trichy, from places like Bengaluru, all the way to places like Azamgarh and across Uttar Pradesh. So obviously Facebook, given that it does not have any geographical, sort of boundaries, people can communicate from across the world. It is seen as something very, very valuable to the ISIS. So
That's
this
right.
threat that they've issued straight to Mark Zuckerberg is definitely not surprising.
Absolutely. This is a threat that has been issued by the ISIS and cannot in any way be taken seriously. Thank you so much, Shivarur, for bringing us all these updates on the new threat of the ISIS.
Petition has now been filed in Bombay High Court against the release of Sanjay Dutt, citing inequality. It is in public interest asking Sanjay Dutt's release order to be cancelled. The petition will only come up for hearing tomorrow.